The difference between a master and a beginner is that the master has failed more times than a beginner has. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. If you're visiting for the first time, my name is Sheridan and I'm a first grade teacher in South Carolina, and I am almost halfway through my third year of teaching, and it is going so well. We're actually on Thanksgiving break right now, so I have time to kind of sit and chat and catch up and do a couple of vlogging things. Today's video is going to be my part in a teacher tag called the How I Became a Teacher tag, and it was started by Megan from Too Cool for Middle School, and I decided to jump in because I saw everyone else's video and I was just like, oh my gosh, this would be so much fun to take part in and share my experience and kind of how teaching became a part of my life, so I thought I would jump in as well. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Alright, I'm gonna jump right in. So I have my phone here with the questions on it, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm trying to make sure I'm reading and answering the questions correctly. So the first question number 1 says, did you always know you wanted to be a teacher? If not, when did you decide to become a teacher? No, I did not always know that I wanted to be a teacher. I really wanted to be a pediatrician or some type of scientist growing up, just because for me, when I was in middle and high school, I really liked biology and learning about the human body. The human body is a very interesting, fascinating thing, and to me, I'm still kind of fascinated by it. And I really just wanted to learn more and kind of become an expert on it, and I wanted to I guess teach people how to take care of their bodies and still kind of work with kids in some capacity, because like I said, I wanted to be a pediatrician. But when I was in the 11th grade, I had to take honors chemistry, and I thought I was going to be good at it, but oh my gosh, I was not. I was horrible at it. I am just thankful that I passed and was able to go to the 12th grade, because that class stressed me out so much. And I just decided, you know, if I can't really do well in chemistry in high school, I have no idea if I can handle this in college. And I think if you're trying to be in the medical field, you kind of have some proficiency in chemistry. So I was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna just choose something else. It wasn't until my senior year in high school that I took a class called Teacher Cadets. And what it is a class it's kind of like an introduction to teaching, and you learn about the different theorists, you learn about different aspects of education, and in the spring you get to do a practicum, or not really a practicum, I guess a field experience. And it was really then that made me feel like, wow, I can do this. Because towards the end of that field experience, I had to write a lesson plan for only one subject. And I had to teach that lesson, and I was so nervous about it, but because of the class I was in, I was actually in a first grade class. It's funny because now I teach first grade, but I had a really good relationship with that class. I'd had the time to kind of build the relationship and get to know all of the kids and really work closely with my, I guess my field experience teacher, the actual teacher of that class. And it wasn't as nerve-wracking as I thought it was going to be, and it was a math lesson, and it turned out to be really well. And my Teacher Cadet teacher, who I keep in contact with because she has been very supportive of me as a beginning teacher or an introductory teacher, we still keep in contact. And but at the time, she was observing me and was I guess scoring me, observing me and writing comments. And I remember when I was about to leave, and I ran into her, and she was like, you did so well. And that just really gave me the encouragement that I needed to be like, all right, maybe I really can do this. And so ever since, I've been studying to become a teacher. Now, I did go to 2 different colleges. I went to one for 1 semester and then transferred schools and went to a different school. That's the school that I ended up graduating from. And when I got to the second school, I did change my major to music education. My dad is a music educator, and I really was into music, and I wanted to teach chorus. The reason why that didn't work out was because music theory was hard for me. It was too much, and I just said, you know what, I really would like to have my own class, my own kids, because I guess when you're a music teacher, you kind of work with all of the kids in the school, and I really just wanted to have my own class, and it was just like, you know what, it's gonna be so much easier for me to just go back to regular ed and just study that. And so I switched back to early childhood education. That certifies me from pre-K to 3rd grade, I think. And here I am, a 1st grade teacher. So yeah, that ended up being what I graduated with. I graduated with my bachelor's in arts of early childhood education, and I was magna cum laude. So that was really, really cool. Okay, I guess I already answered question number 2. But question number 2 is, what was your major in college? Again, early childhood education. This was after I had changed from music education. I wanted to work in the music field, but this was a better fit for me. Yeah, early childhood education, and like I said, that certifies you to teach, at least in South Carolina, pre-K through 3rd grade, and I am a 1st grade teacher. So that fits me right within that certification. Question number 3, what kinds of requirements does your state have for teachers? Did you have to do observation hours, student teaching, etc.? All right, so I have pulled up on my iPad the requirements to be a teacher, or how to become a teacher in South Carolina. I'm just reading directly, and I will cite this below, so you can see that I actually got this from a site. But it says, how to become a teacher in South Carolina. To meet basic eligibility requirements for a teaching certification in South Carolina, candidates must have at least a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university, pass the required praxis assessments, and complete a background check. Additionally, prospective teachers must complete an approved South Carolina teacher preparation program, which is typically included in the bachelor's degree curriculum for traditional route educators. So basically everything that just said. You have to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited college or university, which I have. I went through a 4-year program, and I got my bachelor's degree, passed the required praxis assessments. In South Carolina, we have to take the praxis tests, and we have to take the praxis and then the PLT. The praxis was basically just different scenarios, kind of like those, what would you do if you were in this situation? And a lot of common sense stuff. And then the PLT was strictly your theorists, like your Piaget, Vygotsky, all of those theorists that you learn about in college. So I passed those. One thing I did, and I probably shouldn't have done, was I took both of them in the same week, and those are 2 really huge tests. I'm glad I got them out of the way, but if I were smarter, I would have stressed so much less had I just taken one that one time and the other one at the other time. But I wanted to just get it done so I could focus on finishing my degree, so that's how I did it. But yeah, that is basically those are the requirements. Now, in college, within my program, I went through kind of like the basic introductory level courses, and then halfway through halfway through the degree, you apply to be in the professional program. And in the professional program, that's when you get divided into cohorts. I think they only accept a certain number of students at a time, and there's 4 cohorts, and I was accepted and I was put into a cohort. And in that cohort, we all took the same classes at the same time. We did our internships. Now, our internships were at different schools. I mean, you can't put that many kids at one school, that many interns at one school, rather. And we pretty much, and it was the same cohort for 3 semesters. So we took all of our classes together. We got to talk about a lot of things. It was really nice to kind of go through the internship process together as a cohort, because we really got to know each other. We got really close to each other. I really liked, that was probably my favorite experience of the professional program, just because we did get close and we did kind of get to go through and talk through kind of the hard stuff together. I liked how my college's education department went through that and kind of helped us with that. But I did get practicum hours, or a practicum experience at one school. I really liked that school. And then I did 2 internships. I did a part-time internship, and a part-time internship is when you're there at the school in a certain grade level. I was in pre-K, so 4K, when in this internship, and I did a day and a half every week. So I think I did Mondays and then half of Tuesday, the first half of Tuesday, every single week, up until it was halfway through. Actually, it was closer to the end of that internship where we had to do a 3-week immersion. And it was when you go every single day for 3 weeks, Monday through Friday. And that kind of just gets you the experience of being in the classroom from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. You attend all of the planning meetings, all of the after school meetings, everything that that teacher is doing, you are doing. And that was a really good way to kind of experience how a school day works and what teachers do when they are not teaching, but they're still at school. Their planning sessions, the meetings they have to go to, all of the accommodations they have to make sure that they are up to date on. I think for me, I learned a lot about the stuff that teachers have to do behind the scenes, and that was really eye-opening for me. So that was the first internship. And then my final internship was my full-time, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 2:45 day. And then of course, like I said, staying after school, planning for the next day, going to meetings. There were some times where I had to go off campus to another elementary school because that was the responsibility that my coaching teacher had. So it was really getting to see a different grade level. Because of my second internship, I was with 3rd grade, and I loved that class so much. And thinking back, they were in 3rd grade 3 years ago. Now they're in 6th grade, which is crazy. But that was like, I call that my first class because I started this school year with them. And I made it all the way to Thanksgiving break, and then that's when I had to stop going. But I think of them as my first class because, you know, I started the school year with them, and they were very sweet. But anyway, it was really just getting to know how to begin the school year and how to prepare for the next day, how to give assessments, grade the assessments, use that data to inform instruction. A lot of the non-teaching things that you don't really get to see until you're actually experiencing that. And I think internship really prepared me for those things. So I enjoyed my internship experiences a lot. But those are the things that I did within my teacher education college program. All right, now I'm on question number 4. How did you decide which age group, elementary or secondary, or subject you wanted to teach? I really didn't. It wasn't that hard for me. I knew when I took that class my senior year of high school that because I was in elementary school doing my practicum, I was like, wow, I really like the young kids. This is what I want to do. And so I chose to major in early childhood education. And I don't know, I really didn't have, I didn't really have a back and forth time where I was like, do I really want to teach this age group? Do I want to teach this age group? I kind of just knew it was going to be young kids. So I guess I just chose early childhood. I'm sorry, that's not like a better answer, but I really didn't have a hard time deciding that. Number 5, did you do any substitute teaching? I did not. My only teaching experience was just the internships, the practicum experiences. I've never subbed before. I know a lot of teachers have gotten their a lot more experience with subbing, but that's something that I didn't do. It's not because I didn't want to, I just never had the opportunity to do it. Number 6, what was the process like to apply for the first teaching job you were hired for? Wow, that was a long time ago, it feels like. I was not finished with college yet. I think I was done with my internship experience, and then the final semester was just me finishing up classes so I could graduate. But I think the process was, if I remember correctly, was I had to fill out the application for the state, and then I think you get to choose the districts that you're looking into, and then you have to upload your resume. into that, and you have to choose your 3 references, and all of that was fairly easy because I did really well in my internships and I built really good relationships with the references that I chose. And it was really just the waiting game. I went to job fairs. I think I went to 3 different job fairs in different school districts, and I just printed out a bajillion copies of my resume and left them there. And I feel like that was when the ball really got rolling for me with getting calls for interviews. At the school that I interned at, I was really kind of looking into working at that school. And like I said, I built really good relationships with the internship teachers that I had. The admin actually watched me teach a lesson, which, by the way, if you are not a teacher yet and you are at a school that you really would like to work at, I recommend, I know it's weird and it might be scary, but I recommend you getting like one of the principals or someone on the admin team to just invite them to come watch you teach. You get so much good feedback, and it just looks good for you because it's like, hey, I'm not a teacher yet, but this is something that I really want, and I think I would be a good fit for this school or another school, and maybe they could pass your name along or something. I don't know. But it shows them that you are really taking this seriously and that this is something that you really, really want. So I would highly recommend you getting maybe someone from the admin to come observe you at some point. But I had that happen. Around spring break of my final semester of college, I went and not interviewed, I did a mock lesson, and it was something that I'd never heard of any school doing. But a mock lesson is you basically come in and you teach a lesson, and that's part of the interview. Luckily, it was in the grade that I interned with the semester before, 3rd grade, and now it wasn't with the teacher that I interned with, it was a different teacher on that team, but I kind of knew her kids just from some recess interactions, and they kind of knew me, so it was very nice to kind of be in that situation. And I think it was a reading lesson. I don't remember exactly what I was teaching, but I got to prepare for it beforehand with the teacher, and it was really nice to be able to kind of have that time to like talk to that teacher and get some help with maybe how to do certain things, pacing, all that stuff. So if you ever have to do a mock lesson, but you have like a really good relationship with your internship teacher, lean on them, contact them. They want to help you because they want you to succeed. So it's really a good idea to have good relationships with all of your internship teachers. And I'm trying to think if there is anything else. Now, the mock lesson went really well. And unfortunately, though, I ended up not getting that job just because there weren't any open positions for the next school year. And I at that point, because I'd already graduated and it was summertime, and at that point I was just like, you know what, I really need a job. So the day that I found out that I wasn't going to be getting that job, I got the call from the school that I'm currently working at asking me to come in for an interview. And the following week I came in for the interview at my current school, and it didn't take very long. I think it was like 3:30 in the afternoon or something like that. It didn't take very long. I introduced myself. They asked me their questions. They told me to tell them certain things, and that was pretty much it. And then I remember the interview was on a Tuesday. That Friday, I got the call asking if I was still interested and that I had been hired, and here I am 3 years later. And to me, it's just still like, wow, like my very first actual job interview, I got the job. It was really, it still blows my mind, but I'm really thankful to be at the job that I'm at. I've met so many good people at this job. It's a really good space. I love the kids that I work with. My coworkers are amazing, and I just could not have asked for a better situation, and I'm still there, and I'm thankful to be there. But that's pretty much how I got hired for my current job. Okay, number 7. So I'm almost done, so hang in there. Number 7, were there any common interview questions you remember? Questions are the questions were pretty much what would you do in certain situations. The big questions these aren't even really questions, but it was more like a tell me about this. First, they always ask you to tell them about yourself. It's just, I guess that's just I don't know if maybe that's just a standard interview question. But the big ones were tell me about a good reading lesson. And then I basically just described to them a reading lesson that went well in my internship, or an ELA lesson rather. Tell me about a good math lesson. Tell me what would you do if this happened. How would you manage that? So a lot of different scenario-based questions were the ones that I got a lot of in my interview, and I just kind of had to do my best to kind of put myself in that teacher's position and just tell them how I would handle certain things. Those are mostly the questions that I got. Another question that is normally at the end is, do you have any questions for us? Ask them some questions. Show that you are interested in that job. That makes you look really, really good. So ask them some questions. Just come up with one. Go on their school website and tell them to tell you more about something. I will say that the job that I have right now is at the school that I went to from kindergarten through 2nd grade, and it's so interesting to be able to go back and look at it through the lens of a now teacher. It was really cool to be able to go back to that school. But yes, a lot of scenario-based questions. Okay, number 8. What was the first teaching position you were hired for? Grade level, subject, etc. So I was hired at the school that I went to for kindergarten through 2nd grade. Now, I was hired for 2nd grade. It was not until I think 2 weeks before school started that I was changed to 1st grade. And for me, I thought 2nd grade was going to be like my dream grade. It was that, I don't know what it is about that age group, but I was just like, ooh, this is what I want. This is gonna be fantastic. This is gonna be awesome. I don't know, just like, I guess I liked what we were gonna be learning. I mean, I don't know, because I really hadn't seen any 2nd grade lesson plans yet. So I don't know why I thought 2nd grade was just gonna be the perfect fit for me. But I had gotten the classroom ready, all the decorations put up for the most part, and then I got switched to 1st grade, and I was like, oh my gosh. And you wouldn't think that there is that much of a difference between 1st and 2nd grade, but it was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be teaching 1st grade. They're like kindergartners. And I was nervous because I'm like, they're so young. Like, what am I gonna do? I was really, really nervous, but the team, the 1st grade team that I was hired to be a part of, they were amazing. Like, oh my goodness, the support that they gave me in my 1st year was phenomenal. I had a wonderful mentor who I'm still really good friends with. My team, oh my gosh, we are thick as thieves. I love them so much. I don't know what I would do without them. And I mean, my school year, I mean, like, there were some challenging moments, but because I had the supportive team that I had, I got through them. And now I can't imagine teaching any other grade other than 1st grade. I mean, you kind of just have to get outside of your own head, I guess, sometimes, and realize that, you know, this isn't what I wanted at first, but now I can't imagine being anywhere else. You make the best of everything, and I totally did, and I am so glad that I was switched. It was a really good call. I'm just really thankful for that. Okay, number 9. What did you feel prepared for on the very first day of your very first job? What did you feel unprepared for? Wow, to go back to the very first day of teaching for me. I feel like I was prepared for as far as the schedule, because we all sat down right before school started, like a few days before, and we made a schedule of how the first day of school was going to go. And I followed that schedule to a T. And it was, I think, I'm someone who needs a schedule because I'm very organized. Sorry, my camera just died, but I recharged the battery. But anyway, so I was talking about how I felt prepared on the first day of school, or the first day of my very first teaching job. So I was saying how like having a schedule that we all sat down and figured out right before school started that year, it was like a couple of days before, having that schedule was really helpful to be able to kind of plan out how the first day was gonna go. And I am a very organized, I'm very someone who needs a schedule because it kind of just keeps me in check, keeps me organized. And we pretty much followed it to a T, which was good. I needed that. It really kind of helped me gauge my time and gauge how much time everything was supposed to take. And second year I did the same thing, third year did the same thing, just having a schedule, because you're not really into your curriculum just yet. Those first few days of teaching, we're really just doing a lot of team building, a lot of routines and procedures, and just a lot of that first few days of school stuff. So having a schedule was really helpful to kind of see where to plug everything in. Now, what did I feel unprepared for? I don't think I had really developed my teacher voice yet, and I'm not talking about that firm voice that I mean business voice. I guess I'm really talking about just that, you know, I guess the sense that you guys are the students, I am the teacher, because whenever I think about being with kids, I want to be the very fun, enjoyable, you know what I mean? Like, I guess what I'm talking about is when I think about when I'm with like my family, and then like I have younger kids in my family and I just want to, you know, be funny, and just, I never thought of myself as someone who could be authoritative. So just kind of getting into that mindset where, hey, the ball is in your court, you are in control of that class, and they respond to what you do. So I hadn't really developed that yet, and that took a lot of time. But when you really decide how you want your classroom culture to go and develop your own sense of classroom management, that kind of falls into place on its own. And I did not get it the first week. I don't think I really understood who I was as far as classroom management till probably my first month, until the first month had gone by. And I still have to kind of change things up as the school year goes along, especially every year. You get a different class every year. Some things that may have worked the previous year are not going to work the next year. You kind of just have to be flexible. And I feel like I learned that more in the succeeding years. So there's always room for learning in the world of education. You just kind of have to be ready for it and be willing to do it. But I think as far as feeling unprepared, I think it was just being ready to develop that classroom management system, if you will. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, last question. Question number 10. Do you have any last bit of advice for people who are on their journey to become a teacher? My advice, there's so many things I could say, but I guess my last bit of advice would be to just keep at it. You're not going to be perfect your first year. You're not going to be perfect your second year. I'm in my third year and I still don't feel like I'm an expert, but I feel like based on what I have learned the first 2 years, I'm in a much better place than I was. I feel like my routines make a little more sense, and I feel like I am doing a lot better with being consistent with a lot of things in my classroom. So you really just kind of have to stick with it. You don't give up, because if you do, then I mean that's it, I guess. Just make sure that you are giving yourself grace. I feel like a lot of times, I know I did this my first year of teaching, we beat ourselves up for not knowing something, or maybe was one lesson that didn't go well. Don't beat yourself up, because this is a learning experience. I feel like I've learned more through messing up than success. I read something the other day that said the difference between a master and a beginner is that the master has failed more times than a beginner has. And that makes perfect sense. I mean, you can't be good at something until you mess up a bunch of times. And that's essentially That's essentially the heart of teaching. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You just have to really tell yourself that, hey, this was a mistake, this is what I've learned, and then just move on. Every day is new. Every day is a day for you to learn something new. So just keep at it and don't beat yourself up so much. I think that's probably the biggest and best advice I could give you. But if you are looking to become a teacher, you are about to enter into one of the most rewarding, it's challenging, but it's one of the most rewarding professions that you could ever be a part of. And I think that you will just have such an impact on kids' lives. And I think you're going to do a wonderful job. Well, we have come to the end of this video, and again, I thank Megan so much for putting together this teacher tag. Like I said, I thought it would be a lot of fun to be a part of it, so I decided to just jump in and just share what I had to say. But I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope that you will go and watch the other teachers' videos and kind of see what they have to say. But if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment down below. And just share what it is that you, if you're a beginning teacher or about to go into teaching, share what it is that you want to know more about, or maybe a concern that you have, or any of the tips that I gave that you found the most helpful. I would love to communicate with you guys and kind of connect and kind of start a conversation. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye!